professional community. This segment of videos is dedicated to Ravens Crossing, hence the playlist Ravens Crossing. So, Ravens Crossing, what is Ravens Crossing, and why did we come up with the name Ravens Crossing? Well, Ravens Crossing is a 750 plus square foot off-grid passive solar timber frame home that's going to be built here right where I'm standing this summer, and it will become the home for my wife and myself. We are working with builder and designer Derek Eagles from North Mountain Permaculture. I'll put the link down below. You might want to check them out. They run some neat courses and stuff like that as well. Always worth a visit. So let's start off with a name. Why did we choose Ravens Crossing? We have a lot of ravens here. I mean, a lot. We've been here for close to a year and observing this land that we are stewards of. One of the things we've come to realize is that we have an abundance of ravens. Conspiracy is what they call them when you have a bunch of ravens together. These ravens, although they can be birds of prey themselves, they've actually been protecting our flocks of chickens against other birds of prey, such as bald eagles. We definitely have some bald eagles here. Right now we have at least 2 mature ones we see on a regular basis, and one younger one, I think about maybe 2.5, 3 years old. The younger ones can be more of a risk because they're still learning their way, and they might look at a full-grown chicken and think that is a worthy meal. Anyways, these ravens, along with hawks too, we have hawks. These ravens chase these birds of prey off for us. So indirectly, in doing what they do to, protect their own and all that, they're actually protecting our birds as well. So the name Ravens Crossing is a way to give thanks and salute these birds for what they do for us here and protecting our flocks, and honestly just providing entertainment, just watching them fly above and all the neat sounds and everything they make. Let's talk about the actual home itself. So as I said, it's a 750 square foot off-grid passive solar timber frame home. So let's start with off-grid. The intent here is to use solar power to provide electricity and not use shore power or traditional power with a line coming in. We are approved as a group for a large greywater system. One of the first multi-dwelling greywater systems approved in Nova Scotia, which is pretty cool. We're hoping that we can go with simple greywater systems, but it's good to know that we have that in our back pocket, that if we're not allowed, we need to go with the more formal system, which includes a tank and leaching bed and all that we can do that. Composting toilets will be used as well. And there'll be no water running to the home itself. So this gets me into the passive solar component of it. So we'll start with just ground up and kind of get to the water part and how that plays into passive solar as well. So the home's going to be built on a 4-foot frost wall, which is going to be done with concrete. That's partially by code and also partially by efficiency. So obviously concrete's not the best in reducing your carbon footprint, but in this case it is required. However, we will be using slip-form masonry as well, which uses a lot less concrete and uses natural stone, and I'll get to that in a second. So in this foundation for water, there's going to be a 7,200 liter cistern built, and that will actually sit under the floor of the main living area of the home. Rain catchment will be used to fill that cistern, and of course, because we do have a well on site, if we get into a drought situation or something like that, we do have the ability to run a hose over from the well and fill the cistern up that way, if need be. So that's your floor, that's your cistern. Let's talk about the walls. So we're using slip-form masonry. We're going to be learning how to do that. We're going to be building alongside with Derek. The slip-form masonry walls will be along the back, so the south wall, and also for some of the separating walls for the bathroom and the kitchen and whatnot. This is going to create, between the concrete floor and the slip-form masonry walls, it's going to create a large thermal mass. And that 7,200 liters of water is going to be underneath that floor. That's also a large thermal mass. So how will this come into play when we talk about passive solar? Well, passive solar in general, in its basics, and I'm no expert at it, the south facing wall of our home is going to be primarily all windows, and we're a shed roof style, so that south side is going to be the high side and the north side is going to be the low side of the roof. So in the wintertime, when the sun is low, what will happen is the sun will penetrate through those windows and it will shine right onto the back wall of the home, and therefore it will be heating up the floor, heating up those slip-form masonry walls, and also warming up that body of water in the cistern underneath the floors. This in turn in the evening when the sun goes down will equate to the thermal mass giving off the heat that it's collected throughout the day, helping to warm the home. The exact opposite happens in the summertime. When the sun is high, the sun will not shine into the house. You may get into it maybe like a foot or so of the house, but that's about it. But other than that, the sun's not going to be hitting the concrete, it's not going to be hitting those walls. And what happens there is that because that concrete and those walls and the water in the cistern, it stays cooler because of the ground temperatures, and it's not getting heated up by the sun. That creates some air conditioning, basically, in a way, helps keep the house cool during the summer. So that's kind of the passive solar concept. So the last piece of this puzzle is the timber frame. So we are using more of a traditional method of timber frame build that Derek does. There's no nails, there's no bolts or anything involved in this. This is old school timber frame. This is mortise and tenons and wood pegs to join it all together. The result is you end up with a very, very strong structural building, but the beams are also become part of the aesthetic, and it's very beautiful when it's done. I'm really looking forward to seeing this building when it's all finished. So one of the cool things about the stone that I talked about and that these timbers that I talked about is we're getting these from 15 minutes away. So if you're looking behind me, you see that mountain behind me. I mean, we call it a mountain. It's the North Mountain here in the valley. On top of that mountain, there is a woodlot owned by Derek, and that is where the timbers come from. So the trees are felled there, and they're milled there, and then they will be brought down from there. Also on that mountain, there is a local quarry, and the stone that is going to be used to build the slip-form masonry walls is coming from there as well. So two of the main products in this home, the timbers and the stone, they're actually coming from less than 15 minutes away, which is really cool. That's really a good reduction in carbon footprint. We're supporting local businesses, local economy, people that live and work in this community. We're employing them, and that's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to try to keep things local and inject opportunity and improvements within your own economies and your own community. So to kickstart this whole journey off, we had an opportunity back in March to go up to this woodlot and watch them process the trees that they fell from this woodlot, mill them, turning them into the timbers that will eventually be chiseled and cut and all that, and made into the components that become the timbers of this home. So follow me along and let's go check this out and see how they do this. It's pretty cool.